Well, this here is the BMW M3, and I really don't know how to introduce this car to you except tell you that this is the performance version of the regular 3 Series saloon. Now this car comes with a 6-cylinder 3-litre petrol engine which makes about 425 bhp of power as well as 550 Nm of torque, but I'm sure that you have already heard and seen those things on the internet. So talking about hearing things, let me just tell you what a fantastic exhaust note this car has and start off this review by flipping it around and talking about the driving first. Now the M3 comes with a 3-litre 6-cylinder engine and it's a straight 6, it's not a V6, and unlike the older generation of this car which was a V8, this one is only a 6-cylinder engine, but that's all the performance you really need because 0 to 100 comes up in a little over 4 seconds. But this car is not only about going fast from point A to point B, and by fast I mean of course it is seriously fast, it is in supercar territory, but that's not its only forte. The other good point about the M3 is its very keen handling. It really is a very sharp and very agile car, and it really is a car which changes directions as quickly as a housefly because the steering wheel, the chassis, the gearbox, the engine as well as the suspension really do work very well together. Well, a lot of car reviewers use the word epic very loosely, but when it comes to the M3, performance truly is epic. And why is that? Well, simply because this car's red line is at 8,000 RPM. Yes, the engine revs all the way up to 7.5 and 8,000 RPM without any problems at all. And it also has a very nice and meaty exhaust note when it does that. And you will realize that performance is truly epic when you are driving this car on the highway and doing speeds of say about 80 or 90 kph and change gears by using this pedal shifter here, and the wheels will spin. Yes, there is a lot of wheel spin in this car even when you're doing speeds in excess of 80 or 90 kph because remember there's a lot of torque available. This car develops over 550 Nm of torque, which is phenomenal, and the wheel spin when you're doing speeds in excess of 100 kph and are changing gears is something which is completely shattering. It really is fantastic. Well, when you put this car into the sports settings and you really rev the engine hard, you can hear a lot of crackle from the exhaust out there, and it really does feel like there is some thunder happening up in the clouds because the exhaust note is pretty loud. Now, I haven't driven the V8 version of the previous generation, so I'm not sure what a lot of other reviewers talk about when they say that this car does not have the same exhaust note like its predecessor did. But I'm sure that for most car buyers, as for me, the exhaust note from this flat 6 engine is all the music that they will ever truly need and truly enjoy. And I'm really sorry if I've been beaming and smiling all day long while I have been doing this review because this car really is that kind of car which does put a smile on your face, and it's a smile which just sticks on and stays there for quite a bit of time actually. Well, you can choose the settings for the steering wheel, the suspension as well as the engine, and you can choose from Sport Plus, Sport or Efficient for the engine. You can choose from Sport Plus, Comfort as well as Sport for the suspension, and the steering wheel also has Sport Plus, Sport and Comfort settings. And at the moment I am driving this car in the Comfort setting because in the Sport setting the steering wheel becomes a lot more heavier, but it doesn't really tend to become a lot more responsive. The responsiveness levels remains more or less the same in all the settings, but yes, when you are driving it in Sport or Sport Plus mode, it becomes overtly heavy. Now, because you get these various modes to choose from for the suspension, steering as well as the engine, you can always get the best blend depending on what kind of mood you're in. And all these different aspects of the car, the steering, suspension as well as the gearbox and engine, work very well in unison. And just like all the ingredients work very well together inside of a banoffee pie pastry, all the ingredients on this car also work very well together to give it a very nice taste every time you take this car out for a drive, and it really is a phenomenal package to say the least. Well, if you are someone who does enjoy driving his car up the hills, then this is a car which will permanently put a smile on your face. It will really put that magnetic smile on your face because you'll keep smiling when you're driving this car up the hills because the grip levels from these tires is absolutely fantastic. It really does drive like this car is gripping the road for sheer life. Yes, the grip levels are phenomenal. This car does not break traction easily, and it is just mind-blowing the kind of performance that this little saloon car has. Well, now remember, this car has two turbos, one for each set of 3 cylinders, because it is of course a straight 6 engine. You get 3 cylinders on this side and 3 on this side, and you get one turbo for each set of 3 cylinders. Now some might say that because of a turbocharger, performance is a little slow in the lower end of the rev band. Well, I have to say that is not the case, and performance really is breathtaking, and even from a lowly 1200, 1300 RPM, this car does feel very lively, it does feel very agile. And I'll just show you that if you are someone who likes to get bolted into his seats, all you do is just drop a gear down, and this car will simply bolt you to the back of your seat. It really is phenomenal, to say the least. Now, the M3 is a brilliant long distance cruiser because it has the practicality of the regular saloon. Remember, it has 4 good seats. You can also squeeze in a 5th person. The boot is pretty big, and of course you get nice places to keep your odds and ends. This car is a very good one for those long distance trips, and you can be absolutely sitting on 120 or 130 kph all day long, and this car will absolutely not break a sweat. Well, the other good point about this car is the fact that its ground clearance is pretty good, and it's much better than a lot of other supercars out there. So if you are someone who does enjoy using his powerful machine on a regular basis, maybe once or twice every week, then the M3 really is the car to go for, because of its high ground clearance or relatively high ground clearance. It is a car which you can use on a very regular basis inside the city and not really be bothered about curbing it. Well, such a super fast and such a powerful machine needs good brakes, and I'm happy to report that BMW have given this car fantastic braking. The brakes really are huge, and as soon as you hit that pedal hard, this car really does drop the anchor down and stops in its tracks. So really, in terms of braking, there are no worries on the M3. Well, so if you are someone who knows the term, this car does not have any churby on it. There is no extra fat anywhere around, and just like an athlete, this car is very agile, very muscular, and think of it as the proverbial Usain Bolt of the automotive performance saloon category. And talking about Usain Bolt, it is time for me now to wrap up this review and bolt out of this car and tell you how good it really is. Well, at the end of every video review, I always give you the pros and cons of every car, but in the case of the M3, well, I won't do that. And if you are wondering why this inhaler is kept behind the boot of this car, well, that's simply because this car will leave you absolutely breathless. It's bye for now, and thanks for watching.